For over 2 years on this channel, I've been recommending FIFA career mode save ideas. I've posted a few series of my own, including Forest, Braga and West Ham ones, but today we're turning the tables. I'll be looking at some of your career modes and I'll be rating them based on how good I think they are. All of the saves posted in today's video were posted on my Discord server, so if you're interested in being in a future video, make sure you join with the link in the description below. So who's going to be reviewed first? Person who has been doing a save with Bolton. What can we notice straight away? So I really like the squad, I really like this team. They've got a very English focused team, but then some skillful players up front. It reminds me of that classic Bolton team that had a Kutcher up front when he'd play a bit like prime Ronaldinho. They've also got some former career mode heroes in there too. Ross Barkley, Axel Tuanzebe, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek are all players that I'm sure we've used in previous career modes. It's super cool to see them in a modern game because they're not really the most popular players these days, but they do have some really good memories for me, and I'm sure they will for a lot of you guys watching too. Overall, I rate this squad really highly. It's realistic transfers, it's got some good sets of overalls where it will still be challenging but also be fun, and I do like the types of player that Person has chosen to join their team. They're playing as Miroslav Klose as well, who I don't think actually has any connection to Bolton, but he does have a real face, and that's as good of a reason as you really can have on FIFA career mode this year, so a pretty good choice there. I think there would have been bonus points if he'd created a Kevin Nolan manager, for sure Miroslav Klose isn't too bad. The final thing I've noticed is on their club record and the career summary. It looks like they've lost a fair amount of games, so they're not the kind of player that actually restarts when they lose, which I really do rate. If you do that, you're making the game a little bit too easy. Overall, I give this a really good grade. If you're playing a career mode with Bolton, this is the sort of thing that you should be doing, so thank you for sharing, Person. I'm going to give the save idea of getting Bolton back to the Premier League a 9.5 out of 10. I'm going to give the realism and the fun also 9.5 out of 10. So overall, a 9.5 out of 10. Great grade, and what a way to start the episode. Next up, we have a long-time contributor to the Discord, and that is Pim. So he's been playing as FC Twente from his native Holland. Let's have a look at his starting 11. Well, first of all, you can see it's a lot better than the Bolton team we've just looked at, and we are actually in Season 5. So he's got some 88 rated, some 90 rated, and Ronald Araujo, Kessié in midfield. This looks like a really highly rated team. The standout player looks like Bjorn Meyer, who's gone up from 85 potential on day 1 all the way up to be a 92 rated left back. It's actually insane to see some of the market values of this team. Overall, this is probably one of the strongest teams I've ever seen in the Dutch league, so really good effort on that part. Another player that wasn't listed on there is Neymar Jr., but you might also notice just below him on the list, you've got Ihataren as well. So a little bit of a former FIFA flop yet again, one of the former wonder kids on the game, and Neymar of course, looking like he's going to retire in Holland, which would be a pretty interesting way for his career to end. So playing as Erik ten Hag, it looks like he's managed to win 2 league titles, 2 cups, 2 continental cups, so I'm guessing that's the Champions League, and he's also won 66% of the games that he started. So that's an insane record. Let's rate this save. So for realism, I think this one's going to have to be pretty low. I'm going to give this maybe a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I mean, having your best player be Dutch is pretty realistic. That's what you'd expect from a Dutch team, but you can't expect to have 92 rated players at FC Twente within 6 years. The rest of the save though looks really good. I'm sure it's super fun to play with players like Noah Okafor at front. I think it would be fun to play with this save for a little bit, but I think probably the domestic league might be a little bit too easy at this point, so I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 for fun. The save idea of trying to get FC Twente to win another Dutch league title is pretty interesting too, so let's give that one an 8.5 out of 10. Overall, this equals 19.5 out of 30, which is a pretty good result when you think about it. So thanks again for sharing, and make sure you share some of your other career modes because I know you have a ton more you want to show off. Next up is Anklagon, who shared his Parma career mode. So he's trying to recreate the Parma golden days and trying out Serie B for the first time. So he's trying to recreate that team that had Cannavaro, Crespo, Thuram, as well as a young Gianluigi Buffon. And if we look at the team, you can first of all notice that he does have a very, very old Gianluigi Buffon in goal. It looks like just like that Parma team did in the early 90s to the mid 2000s, he's gone for a very Italian-focused team. He's got players like Daniel Maldini on the bench, he's got Benassi, Ranocchia, all on the bench. In his first 11 is pretty Italian. Vasquez at front, Otamendi might be Argentinian, but he is actually Italian by heritage, so it's a pretty realistic squad and the sort of thing you can imagine Parma having. Another thing that Parma were very well known for was having a pretty decent youth academy, of course Buffon being the best player that came out of it. If you look down the squad list though, you can see a lot of players are very much loaned out. So you've got Martinez, Montez, Ricci and Boni, so these are young players who have quite a lot of potential. I do like the idea of Parma having a very good youth academy, so again, you're going to get bonus points for that. So let's rate this team. Overall, I think it looks like a very fun save. I do like the idea, and it looks like you've been playing it quite realistically. So for fun, I don't think this team would actually be that fun to use. There's not a lot of pace at the back. You're going to struggle. It's going to be very difficult in matches. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, sure, it would be fun. But overall, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 for fun. For the idea though, I like the idea of getting Parma back up to the top division. I like the squad composition, and I like the fact that Buffon is still in your squad. So we're going to give the realism part of this maybe an 8.5 out of 10. And we're going to give the save idea a 9.5. This gives you a total score of 25 out of 30, which is a really good score. Thank you so much for sharing the save. Hopefully everyone enjoyed looking through that one as much as I did. And then finally, the last save that we got submitted before I made this video was by someone called Falcon. So thank you for sharing this one too. It's his 12-year road to glory with 1860 Munich, where it looks like he's managed to make 1860 Munich the best team in the Bundesliga. So his main goal for the save was to bring them back to the Bundesliga, where they were a founding member in 1966. Of course, Bayern Munich were a big rival throughout the entire save, but more specifically towards the end of it, where they were both competing for Bundesliga titles. His favourite player was a player called Noah Stockley. He came through at 17 as a youth academy prospect in year 2. He got the striker role and he managed to play all the way until season 12. You can see that 93 rated Stockley lifting the Champions League on this picture right here, but it looks like the rest of the team is just as good. And honestly, these ratings aren't that unrealistic for a team that's top of the Bundesliga. If you go back a few years and have a look at the Bayern Munich squad when they had Robben, Ribery, Lewandowski up front, they were all going to be around 88 to 93 themselves. In midfield, you had Müller, Kimmich, players like that. So overall, this isn't actually the most unrealistic squad, despite probably being the highest rated squad in today's video. It'd be very interesting to see this against Pim's FC20 squad, so it's a shame you can't export them and maybe watch a match between your friends' squads. If we could, I'd definitely be doing that right now, but instead, let's rate this squad, have a look at some of the players, and then finally end the video. So overall, for fun, this looks like it's a very fun squad, a very fun save as well. When you've got players this highly rated, it's just fun to use them. Playing the matches is actually really enjoyable, whereas if you're playing with maybe worse players, it can be a bit more of a grind, which is a different kind of fun, but I would say this is probably the best way to play FIFA. So to play 12 years of a road to glory, this must be at least 8 out of 10 for fun. It looks like for the idea of getting 1860 back to the top, you put a lot of thought into it, so I really do like that too. I'm going to give the idea of the save another 8 out of 10. And then finally, for realism, well, I mean, doing a road to glory is not really that realistic anyway, so maybe we'll give this one like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. The ratings aren't too bad to say you're in the Bundesliga. It's not like every player's 94 rated, but with an 8, an 8, and a 4 out of 10, that gives you a score of 20. If you guys rate along in the comments below, let me know which team was your favourite and which save you'd enjoy playing the most of these ones. Why don't you give some of these a go as well? Not only am I rating the squads here, but hopefully I'm letting you guys know why you should do these saves too. If you've got any ideas or if you want to submit your own, make sure you join the Discord in the comments below or send me them on Twitter any way that you'd like to get them across. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.